And good Tuesday morning, everybody. This is early morning Redeye update, and brand new data is out from the Storm Prediction Center, or SPC for short. You'll see me use that abbreviation quite often. SPC, Storm Prediction Center, and those are the guys, men and women, that are tasked with forecasting severe weather scenarios. And here we go for today, Tuesday, February 4th. Marginal risk for severe weather is basically along the Ark-La-Miss and Ark-La-Tex, and down here in the southeast Texas. And this one little bullseye that they plotted in the marginal risk area, that's mainly going to be a marginally severe hail type scenario. Some strong updrafts in these thunderstorms, potentially large hail, 1 to 1.25 inch probably. That would be the size range for that. Could there be some larger size hail? Possibly. My young'un lives over there in Katy, so that's going to be something that she needs to worry about. Suffice it to say, we'll go over the future radar here in just a short bit. We'll look at the HRRR and see what it says. But what I want to point out in my previous vlog, is that's what you want to call these things now, since I'm uploading them to YouTube. You noticed for Wednesday that the slight risk basically only covered the Boot and in the southern Mississippi, and I penciled in a little area that showed what it was likely that they would extend the slight risk a little bit further to the west. Well, they have, but they actually went a little bit further than that. So let's take a look at Wednesday's severe weather graphics here. And as you can see, we'll zoom in here, the slight risk is extended well west, past Lafayette, almost here to Jennings. It basically cuts down the middle of Acadia Parish and up to through Eunice, around Ville Platte and Bunkie area, covers Marksville. Crowley would be into this as well. Abbeville, all of Acadiana, deep Acadiana there. So this covers all of southeast Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and points just west, getting into southwest Louisiana. And then the dark green, the marginal risk area, would cover the rest, almost to the border, and then up through Alexandria. And I suspect that this is going to be a pretty gnarly type thing. We had talked about destabilization of the atmosphere and what it would entail if that happened. And the latest soundings were fed into the models, and it now appears that we're going to have a little more destabilization of the atmosphere than previously was expected. And as I always say, Mother Nature can change things on a dime. And here we go. So, could we see an enhanced risk? I don't know. I'm not going to say yay or nay, but I will defer that to the Storm Prediction Center. And I'm just going to quickly read through their narrative here for Wednesday. And here's the summary portion of it. Scattered severe thunderstorms are probable Wednesday, not possible, but probable. Wednesday across the central Gulf Coast states, with possible severe weather extending east into western Georgia and Florida, the Florida Panhandle overnight Wednesday. A few tornadoes are possible from parts of Louisiana eastward into Mississippi and Alabama. Wind damage may accompany the more intense storms. So now we have a tornado threat on the table. So again, this is with daytime heating getting through the cloud deck and destabilizing the atmosphere. So for the central Gulf Coast states, a large-scale mid-level trough initially over the central high plains extending southward into northwestern Mexico will gradually translate east into the plain states during the period. A disturbance moving through the base of the trough will move from southwest Texas to the Ozark Plateau by early evening and subsequently to the southwest Great Lakes. Accompanying this mid-level impulse, strengthening southwesterly flow fields will overspread a destabilizing warm sector across the central Gulf Coast states. Keyword there, destabilizing warm sector. In the low levels, surface cyclogenesis is progged over northern Louisiana by midday Wednesday, with the low developing northeastward along a stalled frontal zone into the Ohio Valley late Wednesday night. And I showed you guys on the previous video vlog where the front was barely moving. So it is progged to stall or barely move at all. So that's going to be a problem. So we'll look at new projected rainfall guidance as well. To continue, model guidance is in good agreement on the relative placement of the frontal zone extending from Louisiana northeast into Middle Tennessee. South of this boundary, low-level moisture is forecast to gradually increase, with surface dew points expected to rise into the lower to middle 60s. Coincident with surface cyclogenesis, surface heating forecast during the diurnal heating cycle will likely lead to a weak to moderately unstable air mass from central Louisiana northeast into Mississippi and Alabama. Models appear to favor a few convective scenarios which may play out Wednesday, with 1. Initial storm development over Louisiana near the boundary and proximity to stronger forcing to the west and northwest, and 2. Potential warm sector development farther east into southern Mississippi and between the I-10 and I-20 near a maritime front. Forecast photographs vary slightly between different model guidance, but a general supercell wind profile would support the stronger warm sector initiating storms to develop into supercells with all severe hazards possible. The strengthening 700 millibar flow during the day lends some confidence in storm evolution, featuring a mix of cells and convective bands. As the storms move east during the evening and overnight, a gradual decrease in instability will probably favor the greatest severe risk becoming confined closer to the coastal plain as the activity moves into eastern Alabama, western Georgia, and the Florida Panhandle. So basically what we didn't want to happen was daytime heating to become a factor in this setup. And as I've explained, surface heating from the sun, you get the warm air rising, and that creates convection. And with the ingredients that are going to be in place, you have thunderstorm development. Now, with the strong wind field that's going to be in place, and the shear, The supercell evolution of all of this is that these storms are likely to become supercellular, and most of you know what a supercell thunderstorm is. If you don't, go to the group, Southeast Louisiana Storm Spotters group, and that cover photo in there, that radar shot, that is a supercell thunderstorm with a hook echo, a tornado. So again, this is the type of setup that we didn't want to see, and if things continue to go south, then it's going to be a busy day on Wednesday, no doubt about it. Regardless of what happens, we're still going to have stormy weather, with all severe hazards in the mix. That's going to, basically put everybody's wits on end, and Mother Nature's good for that. So don't shoot the messenger. So anyways, what I'll do now is I'll take a look. I'll take the convective outlook off of there, and let's take a look at the rainfall forecast. And it really hasn't changed a whole lot. You still got this nub. Here's Baton Rouge right here. Here's New Orleans down here. And you see this nub here. I'm expecting this to change later today. The new forecast should be coming out later this morning, and I'm almost willing to bet that these contours are going to be a good bit different. So take this one with a grain of salt, and we'll see what the next one says, and I'll have that later in the day today as well. So we'll take that off of there. Let's look at the excessive rainfall outlook, and looks like that hasn't updated yet, and no, it hasn't. So the excessive rainfall graphic is basically set up like the Storm Prediction Center as far as color coding. The yellow would be a slight risk for excessive rainfall, and the green would be a marginal risk for excessive rainfall. And you can see that the slight risk basically follows those contours with that finger sticking out of Mississippi and the parts of southeast Louisiana with those higher rainfall totals. So again, I wouldn't be surprised to see isolated 2 to 4, maybe 3 to 5 inch rainfall totals, but generally probably on the order of 3/4 to 1 3/4 is going to be common with this, especially with this thing stalling. So where that rain is going to fall, don't ask. I can't tell you that. I don't have a crystal ball to tell you exactly, who's going to get what, where, when, and what intensity. It doesn't work like that. So, and there's always that 1 or 2. Am I going to get something in my area? Look, we can't tell you. Jay Grimes can't tell you. Steve Cabrata can't tell you. Pat Shingleton can't tell you. Mr. Ekus can't tell you. National Weather Service can't tell you. Nobody has a crystal ball to see what you're going to get in your particular area until it actually happens. This is why we have a risk area so wide and vast, and the risk factor is 25 miles of any given point inside that threat area has a certain percentage to see something. So will you see something? It's possible. It's possible you don't as well. So again, pay attention, stay alert, and just be ready. It's good common sense to practice severe weather awareness. We're getting into that part of the season now, and we're starting to transition into spring. That's a given. You know, it comes every year. So now we're going to take a look at the HRRR, and what we'll do is we're going to start out, and let's see, this is 1 a.m. Let's clear that up here because I want to take a look at, let's take a look at actual radar, what it's doing right now, and see if the HRRR is even verifying, which I don't think it is. Actually, it is. So you see we've already got some rains in the area, over here in my area, which I don't hear any rainfall, so it's very, very light, if any. Probably like a misting rain here in Jennings. Some heavier cells down here south of Iowa, down in the Cameron, coming ashore there. Well, seeing a little bit heavier light rain, and then up through Marksville and through Natchez, and you can basically see that rain. It's yet to initialize in southeast Louisiana, but I have a feeling that that's going to be coming in short order here. We'll zoom out here, and you can see it's moisture streaming in from the Gulf. So let's see what we can see with the wind here. You see the wind barbs, and this is 10-meter wind. This is about 35 feet above the ground. Winds are generally out of the south, southeast across the area, and then as you get closer into Texas and to the front, it's more southerly. We'll take that off right now, and we're going to turn the radar off because I want to go back and let's take a look at the HRRR model. Actually, let's turn P-typing off. So let's go to 2 a.m. because it's almost 2 a.m. as I'm recording this right now. And as you can see, it's painting in some stuff here. It's a little more liberal in its presentation, with more heavier rainfall and thunderstorm activity, which we're not seeing that right now, but it's probably going to come in short order. But I'm going to go ahead and pop out here. Let's look at 6 a.m. this morning. It's actually kind of calming things down. There's still some, good bit of light rain in the area. It looked like some big boomers up near Shreveport. But overall, it's not too bad. And I'm going to take a look at the NAM 3 kilometer as well, because I like the NAM 3 kilometer. It just has a better presentation for rain, and the HRRR kind of overplays it a little bit, but it is what it is. So now we're going to pop to 8 a.m. this morning, and it looks like things kind of dying out there, and this is the latest run of the HRRR. So this could be the case. I kind of question that, but we'll see as we move on. So now we'll advance to 10 a.m. and it's still not showing a whole lot out there. You see a few little streamers here and there, but nothing overly aggressive. Noon today, again, not a whole lot out there. And that's what I suspected earlier too, that today was going to be fairly dry, maybe some passing showers here and there, but overall fairly dry. And then we'll pop down to 2 o'clock this afternoon. Still not a lot out there. Again, we're looking at the HRRR model, future radar. 4 p.m. this afternoon, and really the HRRR is really quiet for today. I'm actually surprised. It's holding the bulk of the bigger storms up here, from Little Rock up to Searcy and Heber Springs, Mountain View, Jonesboro, Pocahontas, Naylor, over through Memphis, which those areas are under the marginal risk for today. And so we'll jump now to 6 p.m. and that's as far out as the HRRR can see right now. And again, not a whole lot still. So we'll go ahead and clear this, and I'm going to switch to the NAM 3K. And this is the one that I really like. I really enjoy this model. They've done really well with it. We're going to look at 4 a.m. this morning, and I think it may be overplaying it, but again, the models, they're models. The algorithms are not the same. Each one has its own specifics, and so you have to look for a balance in between them. And again, you see that there's a lot more rain presented with the NAM 3 kilometer than the HRRR, and I'm leaning more towards the NAM 3K is what we're likely to see. We'll jump to 6 a.m. now. Everybody's just starting to get out on the roads, headed to work. Kids are headed for the bus stop, and still some scattered light showers. And again, this is very light rain. Nothing too much to be concerned with, but if you're out in it, for any length of time, you'll get a good soaking. So now we'll punch it up to 8 a.m. this morning, and we'll see what this brings. 8 a.m. showing some more moderate heavy rainfall moving through Jennings and Egan, Lake Arthur, through Eunice and Ville Platte near Bunkie, and generally here in Baton Rouge to New Orleans, just a few spotty areas of light, very light rain, probably more like a misting type rain. So now we'll go to 10 a.m. and see a lot of the rains are back. Includes Baton Rouge. New Orleans, you're still fairly dry. Probably some light passing showers here and there. But again, you see the coverage of the rainfall, and again, still very light rain, and I don't expect anything until we start getting into tonight and tomorrow. So now we go to noon. New Orleans, you're getting a little more larger coverage of light rain. The light rain still continues through this area, from Lafayette up through Zachary, New Roads, Morganza. Again, nothing that is too concerning. 2 o'clock today. And again, the NAM 3K goes out to 60 hours, so we're going to get a good look at what's to come tonight and then tomorrow. So again, looks like now as we get into this afternoon, we start to see some more moderate showers and possibly some thunderstorms developing basically from a Jackson and Greensburg line down through Baton Rouge, Denham Springs, Gonzales, down through Thibodaux, Pierre Part, Morgan City, Franklin, uh, in that area, and then on it out into the Gulf. And you can see the coverage out in the Gulf as this stuff starts to come in. And I'll zoom out here as you can see. Uh, again, a lot of the heavier activity is still well north, but it is starting to develop. Now we'll go to 4 p.m. today. So that rain shield is now starting to translate more to the east and through Hattiesburg and then Hattiesburg and the Mississippi and then Alabama. You see basically from a Purvis to Hattiesburg, Heidelberg, Quitman, Demopolis, up to Woonville, Tuscaloosa line there, and then down through Thibodaux, Houma, Pierre Part, south of Morgan City there. Again, these some moderate rain showers. Could be a few rumbles of thunder with them, but not expecting anything severe in nature today. Now we'll go to 6 p.m. this afternoon. Again, it's not really anything to be concerned with. Some more showers refiring. Give me just 1 second here. Okay. Dealing with some Redeye text messages. Alright, now we'll go to 8 p.m. Again, just some spotty light showers, and that's pretty much it. We'll go to 10 p.m. Still nothing to be overly concerned with. Maybe a scattered thunderstorm over here in, west of Houston. We'll go to midnight tonight as we start into Wednesday morning. Again, the same issue, just some spotty passing showers. We'll go to 2 a.m. Tomorrow morning. Again, a little bit bigger coverage in these showers, but as you can see back here in Texas, that's what I'm watching. This is what I'll be keeping an eye on. And let's go to 4 a.m. Wednesday morning now, and we'll see how that rolls to the east. Starting to see a semblance of a squall line trying to get started here. But for now, 4 a.m. Wednesday morning, starting to see some more intense activity, some isolated thunderstorms rolling through the Florida parishes, St. Tammany, Washington Parish, up through Tangipahoa, probably East Baton Rouge, Ascension, Lower Livingston. So now we'll go to 6 a.m. Wednesday morning, and I could go every hour, but I'm not going to do that unless it needs to, just for saving time. And these files are pretty big, so quicker I can get them uploaded to YouTube, the better. So now we're starting to see some heavier activity, some isolated thunderstorms, thunder showers developing, even as early as 6 a.m. It's still dark out at that time, just starting to pre-dawn hours there. Now we'll go to 8 o'clock. And it looks like we're getting into another little lull, but Mississippi's starting to see some stronger storm activity. We'll take a look out to the west here in Dallas. You're really popping tomorrow morning now. To me, it's still Monday because I've not been asleep yet. So, yeah. So now we'll go to 10 a.m. We start to see that this heavier activity starting to move. Actually, let me take away the current frontal boundary, hide that. Whoop. But as you can see now, in extreme southeast Texas, Beaumont to Jasper, Corrigan, Conroe, we're starting to see these heavier thunderstorms start to fire, and up through between DeRidder and Leesville, and then through east and west Feliciana and the southern Mississippi. Some heavier activity starting to fire off even at that early hour. So now we'll go to noon on tomorrow. Again, it's basically self-explanatory. You look at the radar here, and as we start to get into the daytime heating, whether this verifies tomorrow, the next run of this model may be totally different. But as of now, this is what it's forecasting, and heavier thunderstorms along the bottom of the boot down there, and still up through Nacogdoches and Jasper, and down through Beaumont, Liberty, and those areas, and then some heavier thunderstorm activity through Lake Arthur, and parts of southwest Louisiana here, DeQuincy, Fenton, and Kinder. And on up to the north through Shreveport. So, and any of this stuff tomorrow afternoon, and I say tomorrow afternoon, it's Wednesday afternoon is what I'm talking about now. We're looking at Wednesday now, which technically it is tomorrow because it is now Tuesday. So, any of these storms have the potential. So we'll go out to 2 p.m. on Wednesday now, and we'll take a look. You see really big stuff starting to move in, basically through New Orleans, Belle Chase, Port Sulphur. And this stuff is all moving to the northeast, Bay St. Louis, Lyman, Biloxi, Pascagoula, Mobile Bay, Gulf Shores. You're all going to be under the gun. Pensacola, Fort Walton Beach, Destin. You're all going to be under the gun as well. Probably Panama City Beach. Yeah, so Wednesday is probably not going to be a good day to be out on the beach if you're going out that way. And let's take a zoom out here and see. So again, we still got these continuous buildups of strong thunderstorms, moderate to strong thunderstorms. Not seeing really anything intense with any of this stuff here in the northern part of the state or southwest part of the state. You see there's more hot pinkish colors here embedded in these. These are the more intense thunderstorms. Now we'll go out to 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. And we start to see a little more of the more intense storms, and you can see now uh, starting to see some of the more intense storms, and this could be a supercell right here. Um, has a little classic signature to it there. So, and you see this turquoise blue around the inside of the hot pink there. That's could be a big hail maker. So again, some of these more isolated, intense storms will have the potential to drop some large hail, in addition to strong, damaging wind gusts or possible tornadoes. All bets are off. All hazards are on the table. That came straight from the Storm Prediction Center. That's straight out of their mouth. Now we're going to take a look 6 p.m. tomorrow. So you see that, and this is the type of scenario I don't like to see, and that's these isolated cells and clusters, especially as they roll in off of the Gulf. Things coming off the Gulf like to spin, and that's something I've seen time and time again. And if you look down here now out into the Gulf, you see some really intense storms out there, and these more than likely supercells, and these are just some really intense cells. Let's take a look at 8 o'clock and tomorrow evening now, and this stuff is going to come ashore. Whether it maintains that intensity or not when it gets ashore remains to be seen. But you basically got a storm cluster here, and then the same down here. But these large storm clusters. They can have stuff embedded in more of a hail and wind threat. But the isolated ones, those are the ones I look for more to be tornadic than anything. And so let's go to 10 p.m. tomorrow night. And we're still under the gun in southeast Louisiana, and here in the western southwest part of the state, and Acadiana, basically in the clear. Everything's shifting to southeast Louisiana at that time. Now we'll go to midnight, Wednesday and starting in the Thursday morning now. And front starting to push through. You see some big intense thunderstorms over here in southern Alabama. And we still have our share here in southeast Louisiana. Baton Rouge would be borderline in the clear, and this is your front. Everything behind that is behind the front now, and as you can see, there's still some activity back out to the west. And actually, let me p-type this. I saw something earlier. I was looking at the euro, and it kind of caught my eye, and now I'm just going to take a look and give it a second to pop up here. That's what I thought. Would you look at that? Austin, San Antonio. That's interesting. So now we're going to go to 2 a.m. Thursday morning. and you get looking at you seeing the snow echoes on radar. Uh, you know that's where the cold air is at. It's not that far to the west. So it looks like we're going to get a secondary batch of rain on Thursday. Let's go to 4 a.m. Thursday. The dry air undercuts this stuff. It's probably a moot point. It'll probably dissipate before it gets here, but I'll have to take a look and see. Yeah, the white stuff's all moving up to the north. Sorry, folks. Not going to happen. So, and here's another little surprise here. 4 a.m. Thursday. Let's see what this stuff in the Gulf does at 6 a.m. And this will be 60 hours out from now. That's as far as the NAM 3K can see. That's a medium range model. Short to medium range. And see if we're going to have any messy weather come in here on Thursday. It's possible. Yes. So if this actually verifies, then Thursday morning is going to be stormy as well, especially in the New Orleans area, as you can see there. So again, take these future radars with a grain of salt. It's never 100%, and as you saw between the HRRR and now the NAM 3K, you saw the differences. One is more conservative on the rainfall, and this one, the NAM 3K, is more liberal on how much it's bringing in. And I'm trending more on the NAM 3K, so instead of the HRRR. So again, either way it goes, we're likely going to have some isolated severe weather events tomorrow. Not so much today. I think today is just going to be periods of passing light showers, possibly a rumble or two of thunder here and there, if at all. But starting tomorrow morning, and lasting through until Thursday morning, all bets are off, and they really need to stay aware because this thing could go south even more. So again, what I'll take you through right now. Let's go back to go to 6 p.m. on tomorrow. We'll look at some temperatures here. I'm getting some really bad internet speeds here. And there's your front. Clear as day. This is 6 p.m. tomorrow. And you can see that it's these pinkish colors. It's getting into the upper 20s and low 30s, right around 30 degrees. But again, you see the slow progression of this front as we saw before. The temperature in Baton Rouge right around 70 degrees. New Orleans right around 70. Picayune, Bogalusa, 68, upper 60. Everybody's in the upper 60s at that point. And zoom in here. So we'll take the temperatures now out to 8 p.m. tomorrow night. We'll see how far the fronts progress. This is brand new data, by the way. It's moved a little bit. Even at 8 o'clock, Baton Rouge is still hovering right about 68. Same for New Orleans, closer to 70. Lafayette 55 already. So 55 in Lafayette, 68 in Baton Rouge. So it's 13-degree temperature difference. Lake Charles, you're already in upper 40s. Same with Alexandria, Natchez, Gaydon, 49, New Iberia, 62. Front's knocking on your door. So let's punch it up to 10 o'clock tomorrow night. The longer these videos last, the longer it takes me to upload them. That previous video was 441 megabytes and took about 30 minutes to get everything uploaded and published. So we'll see how long this one takes. It may take an hour. So 10 o'clock tomorrow night, front's moving through Baton Rouge, Zachary, Jackson, Point Capee. You're already down in the low 50s. Baton Rouge, right borderline. Upper 50s basically, and then just a little bit to the south, Gonzales, you're still at 68, Amite 69, Kentwood 68. Compared to Woodville, I mean, you got a 20-degree temperature difference in a matter of about 30 miles either side of this line, and you know, you're talking a 20-degree temperature differential. That's crazy. Opelousas 50. 46 in Alec, Shreveport 41. So now we'll go to midnight tomorrow night and start moving into Thursday morning now. And front's well past Baton Rouge, and Amite, Kentwood right around 51, Baton Rouge 51. Gonzales 55, Lafayette at 49, Lake Charles 44, Kinder 45, Alec 43, Shreveport 39, Funroe, you were at 41, Natchez 45, Brookhaven, my buddy Cody Wayne Richardson up there 45, Macomb 47. So you're seeing a clear, very sharp temperature differential, basically a 20-degree temperature difference, and the really cold stuff is over here. And then for my daughter over there on the west side of Houston, she's already in the 30s. She loves that stuff. She's like me. She's my mini-me. Let's see, now we'll go to 2 a.m. Thursday morning. Give it a second to load up here. And finally, Nawlins. You are just about ready to get the front to come through in the wee hours of Thursday morning. You're down to 61. Baton Rouge, 48. Baton Rouge, 48. Zachary 46, Jackson 46, Woodville 44, Alexandria 43, Shreveport 37, Funroe 40, Natchez 42, Kinder 43, Jennings 45, Beaumont, Port Arthur 42, Houston again 30, upper 30s. So now we'll go to 4 a.m. Thursday morning. And I have to give the developer of this software, Paul Marv, I've never met the guy personally. We've corresponded, and my former chief meteorologist emeritus there, Devin Freese, was on a development team, and he introduced me to Paul, and Paul and I talked, and he's a fan of what I do and how I present this page, and his development of the software called Weather Studio. It's not for the novice, and for me it's fun. Uh, and it allows me to present to you everything you're seeing here and give you, more detailed information. Uh, and that's what it's about, getting you the information. So 4 a.m. New Orleans down to 54. Picayune, Bogalusa 52. Jackson, Woodville 41. And Baton Rouge you were at 46. Lafayette 44. Alexandria 43. Shreveport 36. Funroe 40. Vicksburg 40. Jackson 38. 39 rather. Brookhaven 40. Macomb 42. DeRidder and Leesville basically around 40, 41. And 35, get your Saints jacket out, Megan. You are going to need it. 44, 43 in Lake Charles. So as I said earlier, old man winter's coming. And now we'll go to 6 a.m. 6 a.m. Thursday morning. Again, these are projected temperatures through the NAM 3 kilometer. If it verifies, it's going to be chilly. So I suspect anywhere 5 degrees, give or take, plus or minus. So 6 a.m. Thursday morning, Baton Rouge 43, Jackson, Zachary 42, Alexandria 43, Shreveport 35, Lake Charles 42, Jennings 40, 43, 44 degrees, Kinder 43, Lafayette 43, Homa 48, and Thibodaux, Pierre Part about 46. New Orleans right around 49. Slidell 50. Again, and the really cold air is confined. I can't really see too far out. I can't see any further than 6 a.m. Thursday morning right now. As we progress later this afternoon, take a look and see another 6 hours out. We'll see what noon Thursday does. But again, you see the really cold air up here, and Wichita Falls 14 degrees, Lubbock, Texas 16, San Angelo 24, San Antonio 30, Pecos 29. So again, when you see these pinks and reds, that's the really cold air, and that's not going to get to us. Thankfully, we're not going to see a freeze. We're going to be chilly, but we're not going to see a freeze. Thankfully. It'll warm up during the day Thursday as well, so can't see that far out in time as far as high temperatures for Thursday, not with the NAM 3 kilometer, but there you get the gist of it. And now you basically got all the information that I can give you, where you can understand it, and it's basically plain English, without going too technical. Now, what the? Oh, okay. Let me see. Okay, so the new QPF has come out, and see these little lines right here. That's what I'll watch, and remember what I showed you on the NAM 3 kilometer, and you've seen it on HRRR. A lot of this stuff is going to be, you know, light misting rain to maybe some inveterate moderate stuff. So now we see that basically the 1+ inch totals are here in the Florida parishes and in the southern Mississippi. And you get in a 3 to 5 inch across Pensacola and the southern Alabama and over into Georgia. So rainfall wise, at least according to the Weather Prediction Center, who puts out these QPF forecasts, quantitative precipitation forecast, this is the 5-day. So again, they say not that much rain, so we'll see. Generally a 1/2 inch to 1 inch, probably higher. These are generalized totals. Much higher in areas where the thunderstorms train over the same area. That's something we'll need to watch for. So, you know, again, the potential is there for, you know, isolated amounts of 2 to 4 inches. That would be a good conservative area. I'm not going to say 1 to 3, but probably isolated, localized amounts of 2 to 4. So with that, I'm going to end the presentation, and we'll switch back to a regular radar here. And still not much going on, just some light stuff out there. Just update is basically kind of fizzling out. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the video presentation, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. Be sure to subscribe so you catch all our videos. So, Joe DeGregorio with Jeff Davis Parish Weather and Southeast Louisiana Storm Spotters. We're signing off. Have a good night, good morning, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.